What's up, y'all? How you doing tonight? Grid, thank you for 95 months. Very much appreciated. Oh, it's not something you can install, sorry to say. It is an open source project, though, and it just runs in a browser. So you can literally download the code from my repository and then, like just a zip file, unzip it in a folder, and open index.html, and you can just run it right in your browser. Dork, thank you for 16 months. Appreciate you. I mean, given that it's a web page, does Windows still let you do that? Do they still have the old active desktop cruft in in the old OS? Yeah, Grid knows what I'm talking about. Oh my god, those were the worst, huh? ActiveX. It was like cool and really awful all at once, you know? It had it all. Everything you could ask for. I would say it's not desktop background ready yet. It needs some sort of it would need like a dimming or like a decontrasting filter or a color overlay or something just to make it benign. Also, any custom graphics would also probably be good. You know? That would probably be better than what amounts to programmer graphics at the moment. So I've added a few more debug things since the last time we talked about this. I think. I don't think I shared these. Nothing amazing, of course. I added some live stats to the debug HUD. I've got a test of a mesh. Well, I mean, technically, I didn't make any of this except for the background stuff, and I made that in like 5 minutes, so just so I would have something that could test like background scrolling. But the sprites are all from Outrun. They're all just straight ripped, except for like the billboards are from that article that I the guide. So those are all by that guy. I made the car. I did make the car. I did. Yeah, I sort of made the car. So there's that. There is that. Um, I went with Maori's implementation of the this. I should probably get rid of this giant comment, but the sprite deactivator. But I really need to see if any of that even makes sense. I mean, not what Maori gave me. I'm sure I just plopped it in for now, and it does work as you wrote it. And I only plopped it in because it's really easy to understand. It's not like I dropped in something that somebody wrote that I have no idea what's happening. Like, I see what you did and it makes sense. Exactly, yeah. Now, what I'm not sure about is I'm just not really sure about the pool group approach. I'm not totally sure that that's doing anything of value. At first, I thought it was, and I had visited various articles that were talking about you should use pool groups, and I'm sure they have many advantages. I'm not saying they're useless, but I'm not sure that it's doing what I think it's doing. Because one thing that was confusing to me when I first implemented that was they like every item in it needed to be active before even being used. If I didn't set, like, what I wanted to do was just I create the pool, and then when we get to rendering, we will activate the ones we need when we need them. But if I don't activate them at the time I create the pool, they can't, they just won't be activated. How so? In that you understood it and I didn't? I've never messed with stuff like this before. So cut me some slack already. And also the documentation doesn't, there actually isn't any documentation about like the philosophy of this. Oh, I see. It's so easy to take text so many different ways. Yeah. Yeah, same then, basically. I was like, why can't I activate them? Why won't they become visible? I don't understand. They're definitely in the group, so what's going on? So it's one of those things where the philosophy isn't explained by the docs. What do you mean by push buffers, El? Because I don't know what that means. Yes, player Y is measuring altitude. That's correct. So as you go up and down hills, as you can see. I've been finding bugs left, right, and center, by the way, because so I added those little rabbit hills, right? And those really emphasize the fact that I did a poor implementation of both the camera tilt and the the car sprite turning, because the car sprite turning isn't based on speed. It doesn't account for speed, I guess I should say. It only accounts for curve, which has, I mean, like, it looks okay for a prototype, but it is stupid in actuality. And then the camera tilt is also based on the same thing and doesn't account for speed or any other factor and has no sort of smoothing or anything like that. So if you have a bunch of little hills back to back to back, it's going to follow the curve setting religiously. And since those are hills, little hills going around a curve, like kind of like slices of a pie, the curve is going like increase, decrease, increase, decrease, increase, decrease over that little turn. for every hill. So the camera does this. It's just like, okay, I will go like the fucking the SNL, that old SNL skit. What is love? Well, so each hill is a strip of road that is, it is both a hill and has curve. And then it's just a bunch of them to make all the little hills. So I could arguably just structure that better to where there's only a single curve across and the hills are independent rather than having to be all one, all part of one thing. See, it's just, it's just wobbling all over. Yeah. So it's just about structure, really. Yeah, I would like to have a very flexible um terrain implementation so that we could get very creative with the tracks in the end, you know? I want them to be interesting. You're going to be, the whole point of it is, I mean, it's mostly to stare at. So if it's going to be something that's mostly to stare at, I want it to be worth staring at. Benny, thank you for 84 months. Another bug that was revealed by having a very, very short track was that breaks sprites if the track, I think it's if the track is shorter than the draw distance. So the draw distance probably needs to be a little bit more intelligent, like probably calculated. So basically like the setting that it is, or if track length is shorter, track length. So that's something that needs to be examined, although very low priority because like there's no intention to have like teeny tiny short little tracks. Of course, I say that now, and it may matter in the future because one of the things I was considering messing with is this idea of having like a short, infinite sort of transition track between larger sections. So I don't know. It may matter in the future. What else? I did a really just naive implementation of an ortho mesh. Where the thing is that I was looking at meshes to try to see if I could use them as a replacement for the world graphics. So if I disable sprites here, and I promise they'll definitely go away. So the world is basically just this, and not the car, obviously, and not the background. So just the grass, the road, the rumble, the lanes. These are all rectangular graphics that are drawn to a single graphics object, right? And the actual ground are full width rectangles. This looks trippy. But yeah, they're full width rectangles just drawn all the way across, but at different sizes, basically increasingly smaller. Or actually, I think it draws towards the No, it draws away from the camera. It draws away from the camera, so the largest triangles, you know, close to us, the smallest ones furthest from us. But also it varies because of perspective and stuff. Like you can see the hills coming and so forth. So yeah. Instead of doing that, I would really like to be able to have like grass texture or pavement texture or more interesting road textures in general, sidewalk, something. Just I want to be able to make use of imagery rather than flat shapes. And it's really hard to figure out like what is the solution? What does Phaser provide that might work for this or whatever? And there's just not really anything that like easily maps to this. I'm sure there are probably myriad ways to approach it, but like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to translate some of these concepts to more like up to date game development approaches to things sometimes. Anyway, I'm looking at meshes. This is a test that I did. Where this is a mesh, and it has a debug drawing thing on as well, so you can see the triangles involved. There's two triangles, and this is essentially a flat plane, sort of 3D. This, I don't know why the debug like boundary stuff or the mesh drawing of the debug tilts more with the camera than the actual mesh does. There's no reason I can see for why that would be. But anyway, so basically I create a mesh, I set it to orthographic, and then the vertices definitions are 1-to-1 pixel ratio. I think. I'm not totally sure. I think one thing I should do is actually disable the camera stuff that I did. The cheating stuff, because I think that it's not good. I don't, it's not the implementation that I want forever. I'm gonna find, where is it? Where's camera zoom? I'm just gonna put that to 1. This is all a mess. I don't know why. Put camera zoom to 1, and I think I'm gonna just kill the tilt for now. Wherever that is. I don't know where that is. Is that even, I have to search. Boop. Angle. Oh yeah, it was in here. I just blew past it. So it's in player update. Okay, so this is without zoom or tilt on, which should look a little crisper because we're not zooming in arbitrarily to try to hide stuff. And I'm wondering if that was why. Okay, yeah. Okay, so it is 1-to-1 pixel ratio. We can actually see the edges of it on the edge of the screen now. Why is the camera still tilting? Did I not save? Or did I not refresh? Probably didn't refresh. There we go. So there you go. That's not true, Sage. I don't think. Is it? Maybe it is. No, it's not. Oh, that was the DOM thing that I created. I just deleted it. So now I won't be able to bring up the debug HUD. Yeah, it crashes. My debug HUD is gone. But no, that's not, is it? So it has its own separate one? Are you telling me about my debug HUD? Because I know it's a DOM. What I'm talking about is the debug drawing here, which is literally a, let me see. I mean, it is a special phaser thing. Let me go to the code of where, okay. So this is where I'm setting up the ortho test. And this is a graphics element that we are telling the mesh, use this for your debug. And then in update, we are clearing it and drawing the lines. So oh, you were talking to someone else? Yeah, but I think BFA was talking about the thing I'm talking about. Stewart platform? No, I've never heard of this. It sounds insane. It sounds like something that'll make everyone else mad. Oh, I mean, this isn't what you were talking about. But if we wanted to make one of those like simulators sitting on a thing, we could do that. Oh, this is what you're talking about. But you mean programmatically, right? Right. Okay. Right. I don't know if that's gonna like. Is there a different name for this that will actually bring me to the type of algorithm you're talking about? Or are you just, is this your own conception? Because you're a genius. Maybe I should try. Ah, there we go. Oh. I mean, this is pretty literal. God, people have so much brain power out there in the world. I see stuff like this and I'm just like, man, why didn't I go to like 15 or 16 schools? I needed like 15 or 16 more school. These are the same sorts of things used, or essentially the same sort of things used for simulators, though, right? That's cool. Right. I have a feeling that it's probably not the path we want to go down for um handling drawing in our cool uh thing. But I like that you're thinking outside the box. It's just like, if the concept you're throwing at me immediately terrifies me, you shouldn't be surprised when I run. Yeah. But yeah, the debug aspect of this, back to that, of the mesh, is an in-game graphics object, not an external my debug thing, this thing is a DOM thing that's sitting on top of the game, but that's a separate issue altogether. And I made that. It's yeah. Anyway, this is as far as I've got with the meshes. In fact, let me actually talk about the this. Okay, so what happened here was like a multitude of things. When I first started playing the mesh, I mean, the first time I saw the meshes, I was like, hell yes. If you've got these, this is a little bit of deformation, but who cares? You can do anything, I thought. But you have to do like, you have to define your vertices, your UVs, your, is that indices? And I was just like, okay, how does any of this shit relate to pixel space at all? And it doesn't, is the thing. That's totally abstracted away. Unless you set the mesh to ortho. Like this. And then it will be one-to-one pixels, screen pixels. So that's what's happening here. The image that I have in it is 1920 by 200 because that is the technical size of like one strip of grass, one segment. A segment is 200 by screen width. Well, screen width by 200. So, if you enter the vertices around the center point, so negative 960, 960, 100, negative 100, it works. So this is one-to-one pixel display of this mesh. Whether I can use this or not, I don't know. There are some limitations to meshes, I think. I don't think you can do animations. You can change what's displayed on it. I think you can change the frame. Let me just look up mesh. Render a group of textured vertices, manipulate the view of those vertices, rotation, translation, or scaling. You can load model data, object files. Although you can use this to render 3D objects, its primary use is for displaying more complex sprites, or sprites where you need fine-grained control over vertices positions in order to achieve special effects in your games. Note that rendering still takes place using Phaser's orthographic camera. As a result, all depth and face tests are done in orthographic space. Right. Well, so basically, as far as the UVs go, I don't think I ever need to fuck with them, because all I want out of this is just to display essentially rectangular imagery. I don't want to do a complicated mesh anyway, you know? I think that only starts to matter when you're trying to like skin an actual 3D object, which is not what I'm looking to do. Blah blah, Z-depth fighting, diddly-doo. If you want to remake Crysis, use a 3D engine, not a mesh. If you want to easily add some small, fun 3D elements to your game or create some special effects involving vertex wrapping, this is the right object for you. It goes into a WebGL bash, just like sprites do. No additional shader overhead. You do custom pipelines, masks, blend modes, textures. WebGL only, and it always has an origin of 0.5, 0.5, and cannot be changed. It just means the center point is always dead in the center. Ah, shit. You are right, Cetho. Unless I always use, if I use an atlas that only contains same sized stuff, which I think is the only thing that actually makes sense for what I want to do, but this didn't really elucidate the limitations I was thinking of, actually. The key or instance of the texture. Normals, colors, alphas. I swear there was something about not being able to do animations. I simply don't know. Um, oh, really? Okay. See, I have no familiarity with this stuff at all. So this is really like feeling around in the dark for me. I am just, I'm trying to figure this stuff out. One of the big problems I'm having is there's a weird gap around phaser meshes in terms of tutorials, examples. Mostly people use them in exactly the way it recommends that you don't. Or really, people use them as a vector to use other like plugins like Enable 3D or 3.js or whatever to do 3D shit in Phaser, as opposed to trying to do interesting 2D stuff with them. So it's really hard to find useful information. I don't know. There's a lot of tutorials out there, but a lot of stuff is really like surface level, like beginner, how to make this type of game, that type of game. You know, like there's all kinds of little breakout games and Tetris games and shoot 'em up games. Um, and for me, I find it easiest to learn stuff through examples. So when there's a an example gap, I really struggle. I struggle hard. I start drowning immediately because I can look at what this class provides all day long, but I just like there's philosophy stuff here that's not covered by documentation in terms of how things like this are typically used. You know, that's a common thing that gets me is like everybody else knows how to use stuff already like this that's coming into it. And then if you're a beginner like myself, it's hard to understand what you can really do with such things just by looking at the methods and the short descriptions, you know. It's easy to make incorrect assumptions and they don't give you necessarily explicit explanations. So for instance, you know, I don't know how I would replace the current graphics rendering solution with a mesh based one. For instance, right? Um, I thought I would maybe try to approach it the simplest way possible, which is just replace the grass, right? The grass is just all the green outside of the road, or really all the green that covers the whole screen end to end. Um, and because that is super simple, if I go to segment, this is it. That's all there is to that. We are setting our fill style for before we draw a graphic to the graphics object, and then we draw a rectangle. We have the coordinates, but I don't think I can just plug a mesh in here instead. This is it's entirely different because a mesh is an entire game object, right? So again, we're back to needing to change things every, like clean up every frame if I were to just try to force it in here this way. And I don't think that doesn't sound right to me. The next thing I thought is another way of possibly drawing this, which I think is like way too much of an overhaul, possibly or probably, is no, this is stupid. It doesn't make any sense. I was gonna say like you just have a bunch of meshes that get updated, but the complexity of that seems insane. I don't think that's the way. I was thinking like the frames that the meshes are showing could move along the meshes, but there's so many complications that I don't know how that would even work. Like the hills and stuff, like the culling or not drawing of segments that are behind hills and so forth. I don't know if you can just, you know, size the meshes differently in that way. It also would probably look totally insane because then it would actually sort of be like a tractor tread where the every texture is like a plate that just moves along it. I don't think that that's right. Um, so basically, fuck if I know. Well, yes, sure, but then what about hills? I feel like that would work if the effect that we were going for was mode 7. I would need something for uh like changing heights. I would have to have a much more detailed grid of vertices, and then I would have to be like manipulating their heights to do like hills and stuff while also moving the texture along. That seems absolutely bananas. That can't be the way. Yeah, that can't be it. No, no, I mean, I know that that's a technique. I understand that that's technique for sure. But I'm not sure it's the technique for this. I hardly understand this as it is. Is that basically the way? Like the only way that would I just don't know. I'm like really grasping at straws as to how I could do textures as opposed to graphics other than something that's like so massively beyond what I can understand at my level. So these are like literally the triangle points. I did mess with I mean, like, I've messed with all these numbers and just been like, oh, you know, because I don't know what's happening. Like with the UVs, I'll just do that. And I think this one's that one will freak out. Oh, I didn't do that right. Yeah. So that like needs to be 0. That's all I learned by doing that. With the, I'll be real, I don't know if is that indices? That somehow doesn't seem right to me. So these are like 0 to 1. Which one's 0? What happens if I do that? That probably puts two of the same point in one place or something, right? It sure did. We lost a triangle. What if I swap these 2 points? I have to refresh it again. It still didn't. It still just breaks it. Or they're overlapping, maybe. That might be the case now. I don't know. This is not a great way to learn things, I feel. Zero to one scalar value. Yeah. And it's not drawing the back face, right? And presumably, you could draw it like this as well, which you also wouldn't see, right? Yeah. I don't have any paper handy. um Sorry, Zaphod, I never answered your question there. I missed it somehow, even though it was a wall of text. There's a lot of ideas to this, but basically it's essentially like an eye candy toy. It's essentially going to become my stream theme. It'll be the countdown, it'll be the BRB, it'll be the end screen. Well, I'm just giving you like a little bit more robust of like the plans, because you asked specifics on some of the things. As far as procedural generation goes, that's something that's been brought up, but that's not like a priority. I actually want to do more like bespoke track designs, like biomes is what I've been calling them. And initially probably just randomly switch between them, but eventually Twitch integration, chat can vote which biome to go to next, that sort of thing. Like we would come to a split road with road signs, and then you vote which one we're going to go to, and then away you go. And also I'm thinking about other interactions that I want to do. But before I get to any of that, like that's all like closer to 1.0 stuff, and we're at like 0.0 point nothing. I want to get the core thing established, because this is what's establishing what I'm going to build everything else on, essentially. So I need to I'm trying to attack the various features that I feel like I'm going to want and need to achieve the looks that I want to go for, you know? One of those things being textured world, road, you know, yada yada. Television, thank you for 5 years. Very, very much appreciated. Oh no. You got slapped by Cobot because you used periods in a sentence. Yes, but in this case, I'm almost the non-programmer. Right. It's all groundwork. I actually saw there was a kind of a funny thread. Anonymous, thank you for that gift sub. There was kind of a funny thread on the game dev subreddit where some poor fool did the thing that I guess every single game developer on earth hates, where they basically stomped into game dev and they kind of masked it in the title, but they were like, um, essentially what they said was they have a game idea, but they're not a programmer. How do you get a programmer to make your game idea? Um, and they got absolutely dragged. They got dragged so hard. You have a really good aim, see. Why is this your final input? This sounds so... You don't have to, like, put on your jetpack and fly away. I appreciate any all suggestions. I'm not sure I totally understand your suggestion. Several sprite files based on squares of facing values, and then instantiate the sprites based on a directional value. Are you saying, like, put sprites on a cube and then, like, rotate the cube around? Kind of? Not sure. Hold on. I'm gonna look at Discord. I was told to check Discord. Oh, I see. We have Stewart Platform, Inverse Kinematics. Quads. Here we go. The arrows is the right-hand rule, which will determine which way the normal points. In this case, it'll point out of the screen. Oh, the normal. Right. The normal. Okay. Two, three, one. Okay. I see. 1, 2, 3, and then 0, 2, 1. Or 0. I feel like the way you drew the arrows and where you drew the points are in disagreement with each other slightly. But maybe they're not. Hey, at least I understood it enough to know that there was something wrong, which you helped me to do, as well as C, you and C. Um, I mean, that's what I want, BFA. Um, my problem is, so something that happens to me with this stuff very often, and I've mentioned this before, and I, I'm in constant, I'm in a life or death struggle with it at all times, which is sometimes I won't do something, even if it makes sense to me, because I'll also think that it's not the way things are done or that it's wrong, which I've done a lot of in this and had to rip stuff up that I had done because I was just like, I'm just going to try. And then people are like, why did you try something stupid? Uh, and I feel like that's got to be wrong. It's got to be wrong to literally do one-to-one, like where we would have drawn a graphics rectangle, we now draw a mesh. That just can't be right. And even if I were to do that, there's like all these other considerations. Like we can't just slap the mesh in where the graphics used to be. There's like, I mean, for one thing, this mesh that we're staring at, the test one here, is just straight on the camera. But the grass, for instance, that drawing works. It's not skewed. It's literally a full width rectangle that is, you know, taller or shorter. Whereas the texture ain't gonna look right unless it's skewed towards the horizon. It needs perspective. So that's literally not gonna work. I mean, it would obviously have an issue. That's all. Yeah, it would need to be skewed. I don't think we're calculating anything for that. Yeah, sure. What you said, lame. I definitely understood what you said and definitely didn't not understand it at all. No, you're good. I mean, I'm joking, but I'm also saying I don't know what you, I have no idea what you mean. Well, you see, the projection calculation that we're currently doing, Sage, doesn't do any skewing on the grass. It does on the road and the lanes and the rumble and everything. At least I don't think the grass is being skewed. No, it's not being skewed at all. Okay, yeah, sorry. Right. I thought you were talking about the one that's literally on the screen right now. Bear with me. Stuff isn't always clear in text. And to even do this, I would have to. I mean, it's not that complicated, but I'd have to like what we're calculating out for our polygons now are the 4 points. I'd have to translate that into vertices rather than 4 coordinates. I wish I could just use the fucking 4 coordinates. That's what quads used to let you do, but quads were thrown out. You can't imagine how frustrating that is for a beginner guy like me, where you find exactly the thing you need, and then you find out that the engine threw that shit out, and then all of the text, all of everything that was written about it during that update was like, "Yeah, I got rid of quads because I've updated meshes, and they're way better. They do way more, and you're gonna be able to do all that sort of stuff way easier. So we don't need this anymore." And then I'm just like, "But I need it. I'm stupid. I'm dumb. Let me set the corners, please, sir." Yeah, no, you're totally right, Crafty. I mean, I drag myself along. I just I'm really just rambling while I'm or stalling even. Uh, yeah, but not the methods it used to have that let you literally set like bottom left X, bottom left Y, top left X, top left Y. Um, those, as far as I can tell, are completely gone. Otherwise, that would make this a super breeze, right? They are? Oh. Huh? Do I still have the source up? I do. See, there's so much more stuff in the comments that doesn't make it into the documentation. I don't think most of this is in there. Maybe it is. I don't know. This is, man, if I would have just scrolled down a little further, this is like literally the shit I was figuring out on my own. Almost one for one. I didn't do this. I mean, it doesn't feel smart when the way that I'm figuring it out is like essentially by accident. That never, it just doesn't ever feel smart at the end. It just feels like, it feels like I sent myself through a programming sausage grinder, just being pooped out the other end. Like, I got there, I did it, yay. I fell down all the steps all on my own. Huh. I thought that said feces for a second. I was like, what? I've hit the bottom. Even with all the comment stuff, it's pretty brief. Only 1,000 lines of, I mean, a lot less than 1,000 lines of actual code. Yeah. I mean that uh hold on a second. Let's just do something real quick here. No, not that. This. Don't shush. Quiet. We're not going to talk in detail about anything here except for that I'm going to show you the implementation. Sorry, I've turned it down. Okay. So, if you look at the road here, this is all texture-based. You see, like, the grass, basically. I may have. You see the detail along the edge of the road and the sort of sidewalk there? Don't move. Sorry. That doesn't bode well for what I eventually plan for this thing to look like then, right? I think that kind of proves that my whole idea is bad and not gonna work. Because the bitrate's gonna just get murdered, right? If I start moving. Yeah, I guess I'd have to. This is not bitrate, but it's probably doing terrible things to the bitrate. But did you... The point is you saw the road, right? Alright. Hold on. I'm gonna try to get further so we can see other examples. But it's gonna be bitrate nightmare until I get there, okay? I also learned that I was wrong about the backgrounds. In terms of the number of layers of parallax. There's fewer than I thought. In some cases. I'm sorry for doing that, but you have to do it to advance. I think. Maybe you don't. Maybe it's just speed. Alright, so I'm gonna stop here. So, again, look at the grass and the road and such. It's all projected. It's all perspective correct texturing of the ground and the road and all that stuff. I wish I knew of like a cheat code or something so I didn't have the countdown constantly going and just could sort of free drive or something and look around this, but I simply don't. I have no idea what engine this is. Yeah, it probably isn't an engine. It's probably homegrown. What I can tell you about that is that those textures are super, super long strips. Very, 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 very long strips. It was, yeah. Right. What's interesting about it is that the road was baked into it too. Those long strips are just the whole ground. Like grass, road, sidewalk, lanes, rumble, all of it in one. I could quickly make one. You mean like a checkerboard? Okay. What do we need? What do we need? I can certainly make a I can make whatever we need. And how small are you talking? Oh, okay. Ah, all right. Okay. I have it. Do you want me to slap it on this? What was it called? Color grid. Was that a PNG? It was. Of course, it's going to get messed up because, well, you'll see. So the actual dimensions of this are 256 by 256. It doesn't matter. Try 02. I missed that. You said that. My bad. Also, let me do something real quick to save some slight effort. Or some slight annoyance. Okay. So. You say 02. Only 02? Okay, 022. All right. Interesting. So it's not stretching it as much in the horizontal. Presumably, we could go farther. What if I did 3? Oh. Okay, that's different than I expected. I think. It added another, like, row. Yeah, 3 by 3. Right. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2. Five wide and 1 tall, huh? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's cool. And it ain't look bad. I feel like I'm almost grasping why this works the way it does. Almost. So presumably, if I knew what I was doing a little bit better here, I could be sending in a stream of numbers that like scroll these. Basically just need to understand how the heck UVs fundamentally work here. Right. Except in that specific use case, it made sense to have big long strips because clearly what they're doing, I mean, that's how they draw their road. They don't do multiple layers or anything like that. But from what I understand from that article I read, they had to cut a lot of corners because the Vita is not powerful. So that may have something to do with why they did it that way. But if I wanted to just do grass, I could just make a single small square pattern texture and then tile it. Right. Does this continue to work in this pattern? It does. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think the thing that's most confusing about this is the fact that it's 2 triangles. And how this is like, how this relates to the triangles, or like why it's doubled doesn't totally, like, I feel like there's a relationship to the triangles and the fact that it's happening, like we get 2 sets of 6, but the triangles aren't squares, so why this works is messing me up. Throw in a 0.5 on there, add it onto a number. Okay, sure. Whoops. Let's add it to the 6. That's probably the least informative one to do, huh? Actually, that made, like, we keep approaching the actual aspect ratio of the original image, I feel. Oh, it's still... What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How did that... Do I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 6, 7. Yeah. I don't know how I missed that. I was like, how did this? Just the ones or the zeros as well? Huh. What? Well, that's less nice. Yeah, it's certainly very interesting though. A normalized coordinate system between the points. So worrying about the triangles is sort of irrelevant. It's the Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, these are just arrays that are being passed in right here to the add vertices method. So these arrays can be manipulated with whatever. I see, I see. So basically what we're doing here is like 650% of the width of the texture horizontally across the mesh. Gotcha. And then 0 is just like the start of the texture. Is this the same here? Like top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right? Same order, okay. Right, right, right. Well, so right, I have to think about this from like if you just keep increasing the percentage of like 6.5 or whatever, that's just going to keep scaling it. If you want to move it, it would be the one of these other ones. Clearly one of these other ones. Like 100%, which actually we wouldn't even probably really. Okay, now that's. So we've moved the X 100% that away. And the Y, right, that fucks shit up too. There's like a relationship across this. I think we moved it 100% out of the top, or we like stretched it out. Sorry, I'm just still wrapping my head around some stuff here. So then the top right. Okay. Interesting. So some of these have to be like moving together. Okay. What I'm not totally getting past is how we would move it on the mesh rather than skew it or scale it only. Right. Something very small. I'm going to write this in here, but I'm going to have to write more stuff to actually do it for real. But you're saying if they all are moved by a consistent value, that effectively will be scrolling it all rather than scaling it all, because everything will be moving together as one. Did you leave the last one off intentionally? Okay. I'm good at detecting patterns. Don't mind my dumbass. So I need to think here. How do we update vertices on this? Okay, so I didn't really need to do this. I get it. Add X, add Y, down the columns. So we're creating this mesh right here. I don't know if we just do add vertices to update it or if that's going to keep adding more vertices. I guess might as well just try it. Let's do this. I have a feeling I didn't spell any of that right. Oh, all but indices. I'm just gonna promote them up there. Let's get rid of this crap. there eventually. Also, I don't think even this is necessary here. Nope, super necessary. Never mind. Is this necessary? Yep. Oh no. All right. That's not. We'll leave debug on. Um. I'm gonna do this in just like the worst way, okay? Uh. Hi. Ah.
Who
What's
needs
that?
eyes?
What's that now?
And who needs eyes?
Okay, just checking that I haven't broken anything. Seems like I haven't. What the fuck? Okay. Uh uh no wait, I know why. Uh-huh, right. That's cool. First try. Hooray. Well, we're not creating another mesh. We are simply modifying. Oh, I see what you're saying. Like it should be dividing. I think that add vertices just replaces the vertices that you had. Uh-oh. Or maybe it doesn't. I'm just really messing stuff up in the background. Because that doesn't seem right. I would even go as far as to say that seems wrong. Let's let's do one other little thing.
Well then.
Yeah, messing with meshes.
Looks fun.
It's yeah, I mean it's interesting for sure. I'm definitely doing something wrong though.
Hi, Mr. Bear.
I did something wrong. How is that?
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Oh yeah, I gotta do this. I don't have to do this. There's another way of doing it, but screw it. Is that wrong? Am I stupid? I feel like I've done this 1,000 times. Here we go. Yeah, font size. Oh, I have to add the pixel font size. Pixel size. What developers know this shit? I forgot it's using CSS. There we go. That's still gonna be too big. It's okay. We got what we needed here, and then I can't just put an array in, can I? That's not gonna work. I don't think. Are you enjoying how I keep switching between referring to this as a mesh and or a quad? Is it your most favorite thing you've ever seen? I think I need to convert the array to a string and not just do what I'm doing right now. But I don't wanna. Oh no, okay, it's working. Why is it? Oh, it's okay. This is fine. So this all looks good. Mm, 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 mm-mm, mm-mm-mm. Why? I have. I've made it very mad. Notice the weird pattern that's kind of emerging here. What is that? Incrementing the positions? What do you mean by the positions? Oh, yeah. So you think that basically I am just drawing tons of quads one after the other on top of the same one by doing set vertices. Okay. I mean, if that's what we suspect. Let's look at the method in the first place, right? Am I stupid? Oh, add. Add. Right. That's why I'm adding. In my head, I was just like, set vertices. It's clearly incorrect. Adds new vertices to this mesh. It does what it says on the tin. That relates to the camera, just so you know. Mm, that's going to be what it is. Oh, wait. Um, that's not what I want, though. Yeah, but is clearing what we want to do? Could do that, but it always feels like not doing the thing that you really should be. But interestingly, it doesn't have like a UVs. Hold on. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Let's stop doing this. And let's this quad quad test. Just vertices, right? Yeah. I don't know what happened there. Didn't I do that? I guess I didn't do that. Fucking bunch of objects. Hold on. Cool. Got an extra S in there just for kicks and laughs and jokes. Oh. Oh. Oh, I see. Goodness me. Uh-huh. So U and V. U, U and V. Is that right? Uh-huh. Yes, it is. U and V. Uh-huh. Fuck are you? Excuse? That's this one again. Modify the verts and set the dirty flag. So it should already be dirty because I'm calling pan Z. Huh. Interesting. I feel like I can do. I feel like I can do lots of things, really. Um, thing is I'm not sure about the order that I'm seeing here. So there's 6 points, right? Yeah. And there's 2 shared points. Setting these directly myself, I think, is tough. I mean, I've shat out the data structure here, so if this doesn't change its order, I could just literally. I looked at what you shared, Zell, but it was too much for me to wrap my head around in terms of what you're suggesting as an alternative. Actually, I'm not doing anything really fancy, am I? So wouldn't this just be plus equals in this case? And then this just 6 times. I need to do it like that. That one meme guy. It works. And in this case, correctly. Because now we're not constantly adding vertices. No, Sage. No, not at all. We haven't really identified that that's even. Yeah, it's all good. It's absolutely all good. So, let's let's see here. So if we took this, could do that. Something like that. Number too big. Yeah, it does. I mean, it's neat that we've got it working in this way. Uh, Still a lot to figure out, but yes. So a stationary mesh. How do we do all this business? Yeah, the building blocks are there. I like how it just says hello now. How do we make that do this? Which, by the way, it's cool when you turn the ground off because it really looks like a 3D object. On the top two verts of the mesh, push the X values away from center by 0.5. So negative 0.5 and plus 0.5. But do not touch the bottom verts. I don't know, television. I guess this should eventually crash, right? Nah. Awesome. Small numbers and a lot of floating power. Yeah. I'm guessing. I'm not guessing anymore. Ah, I see. That is really cool, though. It's a cool little extra portion of a something that I have in my tool belt, I guess. I wonder how I would determine, yeah, like what's the wrap? It would be an exact amount, right? So that you don't see a jump. An exact multiple. I guess it would be, wouldn't it be any even? Hmm. I could make this so we could see what's going on. It'll just be slightly annoying. That's okay. I shouldn't have done it like that. That's whatever. As long as I make 0 typos. Oh, good. It's horrible. Hooray, it's horrible. As intended. As God intended. Oh, yeah. Look at it go. Yeah, it's kind of got a slot machine quality about it. What if there's an inbuilt, like a JavaScript math for wrapping? Hello? Modulo, yeah. Just as easy as that, huh? And now to reveal that I've misunderstood this. Well, so the way that I'm doing this right now, that doesn't help me because I'm continually adding. I'm a big fan of modulo, yeah. I don't think there's a great way for me to the way that I've done this. I don't see a great way to wrap this back because we're forever increasing the number. I'd have to get like the original. It would just be ugly, right? What's the elegant approach? For loop's not a bad idea to make it smaller, but value modulo 1 is not going to work. Oh, equals this plus value modulo thing. But we're changing the value. Let me do the for loop thing real quick, and then I'm going to try to wrap my brain around what you're saying. Or it's not what I wanted. I did this wrong. Let's actually do a for loop, why don't we? Oh yeah, it has modulo equals. Really? You think it'll work like that? Well, even if it's wrong, this should be fun. Oh, good. I had a feeling that wasn't going to be right. It kind of looks like it's behaving the way that we want it to, though. Like, speed percent is still doing its magic, but we're resetting the value on the vertices. So we're losing our original. We're losing our original. Which is what I was afraid of. Right. Right. The trouble is the U's and the V's aren't all the same. So I have to actually get them. Probably have to get them outside of this. I don't think it's gonna work. Yeah, it's not a number. Right. Yeah. Um.
That kind of fucks using a for loop, doesn't it? Well, no, not necessarily. Uh,
Why that ain't work? Deep copy, yeah. Yeah. I forget goddamn how to do a fucking deep copy. I always forget how to do a fucking deep copy. It's always on the tip of my mind whenever I need to do it, but I can't ever fucking remember. Huh? These aren't the ways I remember. Ah, here we go. This is what I was thinking. Yeah. Let's do that. Presumably. I think. Why isn't that working? Why is that not a number? I'm sure I'm making some stupid JavaScript mistake here. Let's just not do. Let's not do that. And we'll do. We'll do it straight up.
Okay, that's still coming out to not a number. Is it? It is a shallow copy. Isn't there a function for this? What do you mean, doing a deep copy? Oh, audio. Oh my god, I can't type. Like that? Did we ditch this here? The objective is to essentially clamp this so it's not an ever increasing number that will eventually explode. Oops. Helps do the right thing. Right. It might just be that I wasn't doing a deep copy. I just have to say it looks pretty ugly to do it this way. JavaScript Y. Well, I mean, this should now be a deep copy, so I don't need to do that. But where are we slapping this in? Would it be here? I'm trying to remember now. Oh, I've gone overtime, I just realized as well. Do I have it backwards? I feel like I have it backwards. Mm. We are nailing it. This is going to make DevTools very unhappy. Ha! But that's happening in the second. Is this not a deep copy? JavaScript, why are you like this? Why are you like this? I have to say at this point, I've I'm not like keeping this in my head very well, so I'm just sort of being like led around by the nose, I guess. I should maybe just leave it and come back to it tomorrow or something. Like sleep on it and then actually wrap my head around this properly instead of waiting for somebody to just tell me what to do. And this failure to do a deep clone of an array just broke me. Oh, I know why. 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 I'm just doing this in here. And this is updating. And of course it's going to... Right. Of course it's going to do that. What else would it do? You need to create it, you know, like here, probably. Where it makes sense to do it. Let's see if this makes any sense. No. So it's not a number now. Well, okay. Some of them are. That was definitely part of our problem. I guess so. I've never heard that, but definitely things are wrong. It's all right. I think I have the enough discouragement levels uh, for one day. I don't think I need any more. Don't bark at me, please. I understand, bud. I know, buddy. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry I am the way I am. But yeah, now that we've established that deep clones are something only an idiot like me would do, I think I'm ready to get on out of here and feed that dog. I will see y'all tomorrow. Thanks for hanging and helping. I appreciate you guys as always. And I will see you next stream.